Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Thursday. It's Thursday Tier Talk. And boy, golly, Darren, we have a lot to talk about tonight, that's for sure. We're going to be taking a quick look back at the Champions League. We're going to be talking about Vinny Jr., of course. We're also going to be talking about the Premier League title race wide open after last night's result. We will reflect on last night and we will be talking about who do we feel is going to go on and win this title this year. Absolutely insane. We will bring you our Premier League preview as we always do as well. And we'll also take a look at the League of Ireland games for the Premier Division and the First Division, and we'll give our predictions for that as well, as we always do. So plenty in there. Anything else you want in the chat that you want us to touch on, we will touch on that as well. Joanne is in the chat. How are you, Joanne? Good to see you. Hope you are good. Baz is in there as well.
She's our girl, isn't she?
She is. She 100%.
Sure is. And Baz is our guy as well, you know.
That's 100%. 100%.
Baz is our guy and Joanne is our girl. Absolutely, man.
Baz is the unseen buddy of the podcast.
100%.
I think he was asked a question in the shop the other day. I think it was yesterday he was asked a question in the shop, would he go on the podcast? He said he didn't think he'd be into it. One of the lads asked him. I think he did. I caught the tail end of it, I think. There you go. Right, how are you? How's everything going?
Not too bad, man. Yeah, not too bad at all.
Good.
I can complain less than most Arsenal fans, so I'm winning it life.
There we go. Well, we are going to have a bit of fun, that's for sure. But we got to talk about some serious stuff as well. So let's get into this. Champions League. Talk to me. Galatasaray smashing up Juventus the other night. Insane, and it could have been 7 or 8.
Yeah, and I suppose I came home and saw the result and I was like, wow. And then somebody says to me, yeah, but it's a serious Galatasaray team. And I says, let me have a little look at it. And I looked at it and I went, no, it's not a serious Galatasaray team. The boy Lucas Torreira could not get a kick at Arsenal. Yeah. The boy Gabriel Sara, who plays beside him, was with Norwich in the Championship. Yeah. You got Noah Lang, who went from PSV to Napoli. Again, couldn't get a look in at Napoli. Davinson Sanchez, who was one of the worst centre-backs we've seen in the Premier League with Spurs. Yeah. Now, listen, they have Victor Osimhen up front. We know the kid has just got bags of class, bags of talent. But for me, 5-2 to Galatasaray says more about where Juve are as a football team and as a club than where Galatasaray are. You know, I looked at it and I was like, oh, this must be unbelievable. And I looked at it and I went, what's average, really?
What's your general feeling on Italian football at the moment in general?
The standard is dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. And I think the issue, well, we know what the issue is. The issue is there's a serious lack of money in the league in general. It's in need of a cash injection to try and raise the profile of the league, to try and raise the quality of the players that they bring in. Anybody that's in Italy that looks like half of a decent footballer gets to play now. You know, so it's guys who, the kind of guys that end up there. Look at the guys that end up there, right? And even if we look at guys who are doing very, very well there, they all, to me, look like guys who are trying to get themselves back to somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like an Evan Ferguson, a Romelu Lukaku, a Rasmus Højlund, all guys who played in the Premier League, showed glimpses.
Scott McTominay, Billy Gilmore.
Showed glimpses, but didn't manage to reach the actual level, right? And we're happy enough to take a sideward step to go to somewhere like a Napoli or you know, a Juve or somewhere like that and look to consolidate and then build themselves back up. But I mean, there's very few players in Italy right now that are tearing it up, you know, domestically and then step outside and tear it up outside as well. Very few, you know. And we look at the Italian national team as well. They've struggled over a number of years. we will not discuss them when it comes to, a World Cup winner. They won't be in the talk, in the shake-up, and they've always been in it. So there should be a conversation. There's 3 or 4 teams when you get to a World Cup, doesn't matter how bad they are. Brazil, they're always a danger. Germany, they're always a danger. Italy, they're always a danger. The only thing Italy might do is cut themselves a paperclip. Other than that, they ain't going to do anything at the World Cup.
You're probably having conversations about Italy, wondering whether they'd even get out of the group.
Yeah, absolutely.
which is a horrific state of affairs when you think about the amazing Italian football that we kind of grew up on and stuff like that, and the players that were there, and it's mad.
I was born in 1984, so by the time I was 10 years of age, and USA 94 hit, we were in full flight with Serie A. James Brackley on a Saturday morning and stuff like that. And then you had the Sunday afternoon game at 3 or 4 o'clock. And it was just unbelievable. And we watched some of the best footballers. You had Batistuta, you had Baggio, you had Crespo, you had Zola, you had Asprilla, you had all these guys who captured, the hearts of football fans. And then, some of them took steps elsewhere. Francesco Totti, Antonio Di Natale, all of these guys. And then it's like somebody hit the brakes really badly and it's just slowing down, like that.
There was a swagger. There was a swagger to it, wasn't there? You wanted to watch it. AC
Milan at one stage were just everything about football. And then again, in another stage, Juve and AC Milan were unbelievable. And now you look at it and you just think they're so far off where they'd want to be. It's scary.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, before any Italian fans are out that come in here at us, myself and Darren are in the midst of planning a trip to see the San Siro before it gets demolished. So that'll tell you how much
it's not for the want of loving.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? That's not it at all.
It's lost its kind of mystique and its draw, hasn't it, really?
It's definitely lost its draw. Now, it's lost its draw because of a couple of things, but money is hugely part of it. The absence of a meaningful TV deal has meant, England is miles ahead.
Well, we know how powerful the broadcasting rights are for the Premier League to teams and stuff. It's massive money.
I'm looking now, right? And I would probably make an argument that it's now the outsider of the 5 big leagues in Europe. Premier League, La Liga. Then I think you could probably toss it up between Liga and the Bundesliga. And then, after whichever one of them comes forth, Serie A. And to go to that from a stage where, they were up there with the Premier League and they were up there with Serie A and they were, with Spain, La Liga, and they were miles ahead of France and Germany. And now they are not. Now they're not at all. It's heartbreaking to watch, I have to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, all right. And you can see it playing out as well at times, you know what I mean? Like, you look at that Bodo result against Inter, and Inter we would regard as probably the best team in Serie A, roughly speaking.
The third time this season Inter Milan have let me down on a bet. The third Champions League round of games. They've lost 3-1 to Bodo. You beat them at home. Was it 1-0 you beat them in the San Siro?
I think so, yeah.
And they lost another game to someone else. And all 3 times I backed them.
That's insane, isn't it? It's mad to think that Inter Milan, and listen, that Bodo, have you seen that place at the Arctic Circle? That's insane. Insane. Like, they're saying that they don't get to play games sometimes because the Astro freezes.
Now, this is the guy, Kettle Knutson, that I've been talking about for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
This is the mastermind at Bodo Glimt. You'll get mentions of 1 or 2 names. It doesn't matter what you give this lad. This is this is the diamond here. It's the manager. Because it doesn't matter who he has. He can move one in, take one out, do this, do that. It doesn't matter. They're progressively getting better. But as a team, they are so well coached. And this guy has just been, I think he's with them about 4 or 5 years now, and he's just doing a phenomenal job.
And with that in mind, you mentioned as well that potentially with the managerial demands coming into this summer from so many clubs, that he may not be potentially there. He may be out of there. He may be sought after.
I'd be shocked if he doesn't leave Bodo this summer. He's been mentioned massively at a number of clubs, and he's had conversations with quite a few clubs, and he hasn't jumped yet. But every time a manager gets the sack, and you go into, and this will tell you, into Paddy Power, and you look at the next managers to be, replaced, so to speak.
He's always in the betting.
His name will always be there. Whether when do they want to have a conversation with him, whether they have his name will be there all the time. It keeps showing up.
Who does he fit? Who if you were thinking, who do you put him in with? Who is he a like, or who, for people who haven't maybe watched Bodo much this?
It's not necessarily who's he like, but there's definitely an element of him being the star. Now, if I look at this and I say, okay, when was the last time I saw a manager and I thought they were the star of the show, right? For me, that was Jurgen Klopp. And I mentioned that quite a few times. When we spoke about stuff, I always said, yeah, listen, this guy's a good player, that guy's a good player, but Klopp is the star of the show for me. Knutson is like that. He is the star of the show. He will make the players you have better, and he will coach them to be a better structural team. Like, Bodo are no slouches. Like, they play good football. They score goals. They're tight at the back. They do so many facets of the game very, very well. This lad should land. I'm gonna really go out there. This lad shouldn't be in the conversation for a Celtic job, let's say. And I imagine he should be, right? But this lad should be in a conversation for a much bigger gig than Celtic. Much bigger. Yeah,
I noticed looking at Bodo the other night against Inter, because I had to watch it, as you can imagine, for obvious reasons. But what I did like about them is when they did win the ball back off Inter and play broke down, the way they pushed forward as a unit, and they weren't scared to put bodies forward and risk bodies forward and all, risk versus reward and stuff like that, but still moved very quickly back into position when play broke down, and Inter then were on the counter or on the transition. Was very, very impressive to see. And they also, what I liked about them as well, and it's something I always liked about Klopp's teams as well, is they kind of hunt in packs. They work in twos, like little pairs around the pitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think this guy is a diamond waiting to be uncovered. I really do. And I think whoever gets him, provided they're willing to give it time, because what he's done at Bodo has been phenomenal, but he's done it over 3 or 4 years. It hasn't been a click of the fingers. So slow play it, move him in, have goals. Okay, year 1, top 10, year 2, top 6, year 3, and give him money. I don't necessarily think he's a guy who wants to keep buying lads in the door. I don't think that's it at all. I think he wants pieces that fit into a puzzle. And I think he wants to be able to move the pieces around on the board and create as much fluidity as possible. And that's the essence of a team.
That's music. That's music to most teams' owners, isn't it? That's exactly what they want to hear.
It should be.
You know what I mean? Especially in an age where people go in and just want the checkbook handed to them. Absolutely. I have to give you your props as well. The second last from bottom there, Club Brugge 3-3 against Atleti. You spoke to me when we were talking about the draw a few weeks ago about Club Brugge is not a team that teams will want to draw.
No.
Expand on that a little for me, because I want to give you your props on it, because at the time I was kind of like...
They've quite a few players there who can really, really handle themselves. One of which is actually an Inter player. So there's a guy that plays in the middle, and his name is Alexander Stankovic. He is son of Dejan Stankovic, who was also at Inter.
Yeah.
So he's Serbian. He's 20 years of age. Inter Milan sold him to Bruges in the summer, but inserted a buyback clause. Now, from what I hear, the buyback clause was already, by the time we got to January, he'd had such a good season. Inter went, we're taking him back. So they're going to activate the clause. I think they sold him for about 14, and I think the buyback is around about 28. I think it's almost double, or something to that effect. But he looks unbelievable. You've got the boy Hans Vanaken as well. He's the captain. He plays a lot of football for them. He's in the Belgian national team. You've got the boy on loan, the Greek kid on loan from Brighton, Christos Tzolis. He's on loan from Brighton. Really good footballer as well. He went there in the summer on loan because he wasn't going to get in the amount of game time at Brighton that he wanted. But very, very good footballer. And then there is your old boy Simon Mignolet in goal.
Yeah.
But again, just like a good outfit, a well-coached team. And they've turned our home ground into a bit of a fortress in Europe. And done very, very well for themselves, So yeah, I expected them to make stuff difficult for Athletic, and that's what they did,
Yeah, big result for her. Forest earlier, 3-0 against Fenerbahce. Absolutely.
Got anybody that knows going to Turkey is a difficult thing to do, and for Forest to come out 3-0 winners there, that was huge for Victor Pereira.
Don't I know this season?
It was such a good result.
Yeah.
Really, really was.
Yeah, we'll park it there for the moment anyway. So Newcastle obviously with a huge win against Qarabag as well. We spoke about the travel time myself and Mark on Monday and all, but didn't seem to affect them so far. But we'll know more on Saturday night when they play City. But 6-1, big win for them. Should coast through. And considering Qarabag as well, it's considerably a really poor result for them, just everything clicked. But we do want to talk about this. Obviously this has been a huge talking point since it happened. It's such a weird one, this, isn't it? It's just it's hard to believe, you know what I mean? And it's like we speak about this quite a bit on here at times. And it's mad the way the Benfica reaction as a club is weird. And listen, there's no need to come at me as a Liverpool fan about Suarez. We all know about that.
No,
I don't mean you. Yeah. I mean in general. I mean in general in the chat and stuff. But what was your idea in this? This guy gets an awful lot of stick. You know what I mean? And I don't think any decent human being soul should really drag it down into the racism stuff. There's no place for that in society anymore and stuff like that.
Absolutely not.
But he is quite a decisive character as well in terms of
he's very divisive.
He triggers people, and I would never justify racism in any way, shape, or form. But he's quite a shithouse. This guy then afterwards cries and gets upset, and I understand that because I can't imagine what it's like to be racially abused. I just can't imagine what it's like. It's not in my sphere at all. But at times, and this is not justifying it, but at times he does himself no favors. He's quite a crazy character at times, isn't he?
Do you know, I don't even look at the character for me because it's completely irrelevant. Do you know, for me, it's completely irrelevant. Guys are always gonna find difficulty in, especially with guys that they can't keep up with. Now, we know this lad is one of the best footballers on this planet. He has a God-given, talent to play football, and guys struggle with that. And they struggle with the fact that at times he dances around them and he makes them look silly and he does this to them and he does that to them. And there's a frustration there. And the issue is when you get to some of these guys and they are, guys that have spent a long time playing football and there might be a lack of education there, the first thing they do is they pick on the first thing they see. So if they're going to talk to me, they might say, oh, he's a fat lad, and you go, all right, cool.
Yeah, they'll always go to the visual area first, won't they?
They'll always go to the visual because they don't have, the capabilities of having an argument and a discussion about something. And this kid went in and on Vinny and on his race and on his colour and stuff like that. I just think it's absolutely disgusting. And I thought, what he came up with after the game, which was, I said this, not this, and stuff like that. And you're just like, pal, you put your fucking jersey up over your mouth so nobody could see what you said. I'm going to take mine down so you can see what I said. You're a rat bastard. You are a rat bastard. And you don't deserve to play football on a pitch with a guy like Vinny Jr.
Do you know what I thought was I wouldn't say hilarious, but the case that Benfica were making, and Mourinho came out and said, sure, Eusebio was one of our greatest players. And sure, he was black. And you're there going, what the fuck has that got to do with anything? Like, what's that got to do with this situation? And then I think they released some footage as well. And I don't know if this is part of the footage I have there on the slide, but there's Benfica fans in the background doing monkey gestures. And they must have put their shoe right into their fucking mouth, and they didn't even fucking spot it or something. It was just insane. Yeah, it was just insane. It was just insane. Because he, you know what? And we like players that have a bit of flair. You know what I mean? We like players that bring something a little bit different. We don't want everyone to be an AI robot on the pitch around like that. We like players that bring personality, that do their hair or do things a different way, or don't necessarily do what their coach tells them on the pitch at times.
If you're going to watch a game of football and somebody says to you, listen, you have an option here. You can watch it with this guy on the pitch, or you can watch the game without him on the pitch. I want him on the pitch all day long because he lights it up. He absolutely lights it up. And he brings, he gets people off their chairs. Like he's almost one of those guys. And I know way back when we saw Ronaldinho get a standing ovation at the Bernabeu, he's a guy that you could see that happen to, because at times he just plays on his own. He's that good. He really is. And he's been affected by a lot of this as well, I think, which is tough, because he should be going from strength to strength, where he was at one stage, for me, the best player on the planet, and he should have won the Ballon d'Or, and he didn't. And for me, they robbed him. Now, I don't personally think they robbed him because of his skin color, but I do think he got robbed. And with that in mind, I think he's taken a little hit, and the confidence has suffered, and this stuff has got on top of him. And really all we want to see is the best version of this kid that we can. Because when he's at his best, every football fan should have a smile on their face, no matter what colour jersey they're wearing.
Yeah. And considering who he has around him as well, he's surrounded by stars as well, and still finds a way to shine even in that. I mean, remember, he's rubbing shoulders with Mbappe and Valverde and Camavinga and all these brilliant players as well, you know what I mean? And yet still, when he picks up the ball, you sort of just gesture towards the TV, don't you? And I would say in the game at the moment, there's not a huge amount of players like that get us moving towards the TV with excitement. So it's really, really important.
We know the issue has been there's too much structure at times.
Yeah.
So we don't want that. We want to see guys get us off our seats, and that's what we want. And it's just a shame that it's, we can't get to see more of it when people behave like this. There's no place for it. There's just no place for it. If we look at our own Edwin Dogbo, the kid from Cork who made his debut last week for Ireland in the rugby, pulled on that green jersey and came off the bench and put it all out there. A kid that was born here, and a kid that was born to two Nigerian parents and stuff like that, and the abuse he suffered this week is just disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting, and it just there's no place for it in sport. There's no place for it in society. But when sport can bring so much joy to people, there's just no place for it in sport. There really isn't.
Well, when you think about it, when you look at sport, I mean, whatever your flavour of sport is, be it football, golf, Gaelic games, whatever it is, rugby, whatever it is, that's your escape. That's when you do your 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, and Saturday you have your time to watch your ball, go watch a match, whatever it is. Forget about what's going on in the world, because let's be honest, at times at the moment this world's a real shitty place. You know what I mean? It really, really is.
Absolutely.
No more so than what we've seen today in the news. You know what I mean? It's just insane. You know what I mean? And especially for us as fathers as well, to reflect on those things at times. But there's nothing better than either go and watch a kid playing football, or watch a football match, or go to a football match with your kids or with your mates. And for that couple of hours, you can just forget about all the haze and the darkness around you, and just enjoy, smile.
It's escapism, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's sad that this happened. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on it, because we never avoid it. We never avoid it. We never avoid anything on the podcast.
But also, we definitely don't want to avoid it, because it needs to be highlighted. But also at the same time, and I liked what somebody said the other night, they wanted to talk about this kid, and the man went, "Don't even mention his name. It's not worthwhile." I went, "Yes, I love it. Don't even mention his name." Yeah, 100%, Brent. 100%. Yeah.
I suppose the difficulty for UEFA or whoever it is that's going to be dealing with it is it's player reaction versus, this. I think what they should be doing now, I know there's reasons why players at times cover their mouth when they're talking to the players after a game or whatever it is, because you can get the press get lip reading and misquoted and all sorts of stuff being said. And I think this day and age of lads pulling their jerseys up over their mouth to talk, to me, that should be straight away a yellow card or something. They should just get rid of it, because it's not good.
Well, that's for me personally where I have the issue. So this was not maybe premeditated, but certainly meditated enough to know that I have to pull this up, or they may see what I say. And I think if you pull your jersey up like that, that's an admission of guilt, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an admission.
That's an admission of guilt. 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. We'll park it there for the moment and see how it transpires. We want to talk about Arsenal. A couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, the run that they're on at the moment. Last 8 games have been quite tough. I noticed the way you smiled there when we said we're going to talk about Arsenal. I wanted to talk to you about Saka's deal. And I wanted you to teleport yourself to be the agent.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how talented this boy is. So no one needs to come on here thinking we're running this guy down. Darren waxes lyrical about this guy literally weekly on this podcast.
I'm a huge fan of this kid.
Yeah. And we've also spoke about is I'm thinking a number of podcasts last year when it didn't look like Mo Salah was going to re-sign.
Yeah.
I was the guy who was saying, get me this boy out of Arsenal if you can. And stuff like that and all, So before let's preface that first. The deal, 300 grand. Obviously, the action last night during the match, obviously when he scored about the contract and stuff like that, was a bit premature, let's say, right? But he's signed this apparently new 5-year deal, bringing him to 2031, I think. 300 grand a week. I'm sure there's more in it than that with image rights and everything else and bonuses that goes with it and all. What you feeling about this?
Basic's not bad though, is it?
If that's what it is, that's what's being reported. We don't know, but that's what's being reported. So we'll go with what's being reported. My question to you is, if you're Bukayo Saka, do you go in and sign the contract, or do you wait till the summer maybe to see how things play out? Because I'll tell you where I'm coming from. My fear is, and I'm not saying this is going to happen before Arsenal fans get triggered around like that, This could very
Arsenal
well
fans get
become
triggered?
Harry. Very much so. This could very much become Harry Kane Part 2, 2.0.
Yeah,
Because I believe if they bottle this
I'm
league
gonna
to Man
make
City,
a huge statement here.
go ahead.
I'm just gonna yawn before I do.
Not like you to make huge statements on
No,
this podcast either.
I think it shows a huge lack of ambition on the kids' part.
Do you know, I felt that the other day and I didn't want to feel it because I'm such a fucking fan.
I think it's a huge, huge lack of ambition. Kind of going, I'll settle. And you're going, whoa. Because, like, don't forget, I do think there's a conversation to be had for this kid to take a step maybe and become part of something bigger, maybe somewhere else, and make himself a world star, not just a Premier League star, so to speak, you know?
Well, how have you felt about the last 2 seasons? Obviously, he's missed like 200 days, something like 12 injuries, including a number of hamstring injuries as well, which is not necessarily a good sign for a
No.
winger. We also know that, like, I mean, he had that unbelievable season 2 or 3 seasons ago, whatever it was. Can you see him getting back there again?
Yeah, I can.
Would you be concerned in terms of, because we know he's also been ran into the ground as well.
Well,
so we're talking about
been the one thing that Arsenal for me have tried to address most this season, is that there was enough behind him that if he was, because don't forget, for the last couple of years, they would have lifted him off the table to get him onto the pitch. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, are you okay, Bakaya? Well, no, not really. My leg's about to fall off. Okay, well, we're playing Burnley at 12:30. So if you wouldn't mind just jumping up for a minute, right? So this kid was run into the ground by Arsenal. I think now it's a bit different because obviously they've got more options. They bought Madueke who can play in a couple of different positions. They have Eze. They have Eze as well that can do a job and stuff like that. And that obviously eases the burden on Saka. And I do think that with the contract signed and with a little less stress from the background, as in, you know, knowing you're going to have to play games when you're carrying a knock or you're injured or blah, blah, I think that will see them get the best out of Saka. However, I don't think that guarantees anything for Arsenal because he plays a game where, you know, it's 11v11. And as good as Saka can be and has been at times, and we've seen it with other players, like, don't tell me he's any better than Steven Gerrard was for the last, you know, however many years at Liverpool. He also didn't get a league title out of it because he didn't have the collective around him. Now, I do think Saka has a certain amount around him. I look at the guy you have in the picture here. For me, Declan Rice he's just unbelievable. I think he's phenomenal. I think there's a lot of good, but
an extremely frustrated player right now, I would
absolutely
say. Really frustrated.
But the talent is there for Arsenal. There's, you know, there's definitely a, you know, what are we talking about? Intestinal fortitude. There's a bit of that. There's a little bit of that. You know, the ball that was put in the box for me last night, if we look at Gabriel and David Raya as two of the best players in their positions in the country, which for me they are. Like, Raya's in the top 3
definitely.
and Gabriel is in the top 3, right?
100%.
That's a bread and butter cross that comes into that box. And for some reason, unknown to us, either he didn't call or he did call and your man still went to play it. And then he didn't get through him. And then 2 of them go up the same ball. And they both end up on their hula hoop. And all of a sudden, you have a kid making his debut who's able to smash it into, you know, almost an empty net. You've Calafiori jumping in to try and save the day. It ricochets off. Everything went wrong for them. Absolutely everything they tried to do in that instance went wrong. That's not a good sign for Arsenal. That's not a good sign because there was a huge amount of panic in what went on. Now, what should have happened was that ball should have came into the box. Keeper should have let a nice big roar. Centre back should have ducked out, allowed the keeper to take the ball over his head, and everyone just calmed the fuck down and relax.
And first of all, I want to give lots of props to Wolves, first of all, who I don't think got near enough credit last night, because actually probably could have won the game 3-2 on truth if we go back and look at it. And I just think we need to give Wolves a lot of props. But we can't take away from the fact that here we have, you know, the title contenders, top of the league versus bottom of the league against a team that's probably planning for the championship at this stage. You know what I mean? Let's be honest here. Going out there and doing that. You look at the last 8 results. Those last 8 results wouldn't tell me that the title's going to North London. What would it tell you?
Well, it would tell me if the title does go to North London, it'll be as much to do with City falling on their sword as it will Arsenal putting the sword through City's heart. Do you know what I mean?
Do you reckon from a mentality point of view as well? I mean, at times we see Arsenal in the Champions League just look absolutely sublime. We said in the league phase of it, they've been the best team in Europe. You cannot argue with that. But when it comes back to the Premier League, which is obviously, you know, the war of attrition really and stuff like that, are they lacking what we refer to on these podcasts?
Water carriers.
Winners.
Yeah, I think there's
people who have been there and done it and know what it takes to get over that line. Now, people will argue Declan Rice won that European trophy with West Ham. I get that.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you know, if you have the likes of Saka in the back there, and no shade on Gabriel because we know how good he is. Yeah. But you know, if you have a guy in there like a Thiago Silva, or you know, or a Rio Ferdinand, or a John Terry,
here's what I'll say, right? And if we look at it, right, as you've said, some real good footballers there. David Raya hasn't won a whole lot in his career. Yeah. Jurrien Timber would have picked up a bit of silverware at Ajax. Not loads. Saliba and Gabriel haven't won a whole lot. And Cape would have won a little bit at Leverkusen. You'd have had the boy Zubamendi picked up, you know, maybe a trophy with Spain, Declan Rice. But, like, there's not anybody there. And who I would say won it all, you know, was man of the match, picked up the trophy, did this, did right. There's the guy I'm talking about.
You know the guy I'm talking about who in that moment at Wolves knows to fucking clear everyone out, including the ball, in that moment to protect those 3 points.
Or doesn't allow the ball to get to the box.
Yeah, or that in the first place,
yeah. And there is a little bit of that. Now, obviously, to get that, you got to go through a bit first. So, if we're talking about this time next year and Arsenal have won it, I think it's a whole different ball game.
Absolutely.
But we do know that first time out is always the most difficult.
The other thing I don't know what you picked up on it last night if you were watching it. At 70 minutes, they seemed to hit a wall. I seen a ball being played out to the right-hand side. I think on about 75, 77 minutes, I think it was. And Martinelli was fucking dead on his feet. He couldn't even go out for the ball. He couldn't even chase after the ball. Are they feeling the pressure of the volume of games because they're fighting on 4 fronts? Is it the physical, or is it the mental pressure of trying to deliver is just sapping them of their energy?
Here's a question on that one, right? And if that was the case, and 75 minutes into the game, Martinelli was on his knees, wouldn't he make a fucking change?
Well, look, we know how that works here. He runs guys into the ground. So we know this.
I know, but like you can't run them into the ground to your detriment. That's not gonna. Do you know what I mean? And that's.
Is it that he doesn't believe? Is it that he doesn't believe in the option,
or does he not believe in tiredness?
Because his use of Eberechi Esse this season has been kind of a bit strange. To say the least.
I think Eze himself will probably admit he hasn't had the best season other than that North London derby where he showed up and beat Spurs on his own. You know, but I think Eze will admit it's been a tough first season back at Arsenal. And he'll look for more to grab onto next season. You know, but like there was options there if he wanted to make changes. And you know what he could have done? Like, look at it. I'm looking at the bench now, right? And obviously the changes he made, in the 65th minute, he took off Gyökeres and Madueke, right? He brought on Jesus and Eberechi, so fresh legs up on that higher end of the pitch. They're 2-0 up. Later on in the game, he brought on Leandro Trossard for Bukayo Saka at the 73rd minute, right?
Who then had to go off.
Who then had to go off.
Yeah.
But if you look at, say, a Martinelli, and you're talking 75 minutes in, yeah? And if you're saying Martinelli is on his knees, well, on the bench, right, you've got Miles Lewis-Skelly, who can play left back, and you've got Ricardo Calafiore, who can play centre back. So why doesn't he just drop it to a 5 at the back and play with Timber and Lewis-Skelly as wing backs? Have the three boys playing it, Gabriel Saliba and Calafiore play as a back three. If you don't have the legs up front, just get yourself a Jesus, get the ball into the channels, let him run, hold the ball up, and then just soak it up as a 5-4-1 and not worry about, you know what I mean? About that element where you're having to create. Like, you don't have to create a 2-0 up.
I have to say, Joanne, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Trossard. I like him. I do like him as a player.
I'm not a Leandro Trossard fan.
Okay. I am.
I'm not. I think he flatters to deceive at times. He gets you a goal off the bench, but show me what he's done in a 90-minute game. Like, when he starts a game, I don't think he's anywhere near as effective as when he comes off the bench. Right?
Is he still being used in the Brighton vein? Because when he was at Brighton, he was exceptional. I mean, he destroyed us a couple of times on the pitch.
Well, let's not forget, he didn't destroy us on his own. He was part of a Brighton team that destroyed us with Caicedo and Alexis McAllister, and he wasn't.
Agreed,
you know what I mean?
but what I'm saying is, if you look also at his use since he's gone to Arsenal, I don't think it's probably panned out the way he thought when he was making the move.
No, but he also should have understood that me being a big fish in the small pond at Brighton ain't mean I'm going to be a big fish in the big pond at Arsenal, and that's the case. Yeah. Like I have, and there's a lot of Arsenal fans don't agree with me, by the way, but I have the boy Martinelli over him all day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Yeah,
I'm not weighing up the two. I just made the point from what I'm saying from Trossard. I do.
Well, generally one of them has to play on the left, and it's either Trossard or Martinelli. They tend to play, it'll be Saka or Madueke as the right side, and then it'll either be Odegaard or Eze that drops into the 10 and stuff like that,
What have you made of the front line of Arsenal? I mean, is this kind of a little bit the Achilles heel at the moment? Because they don't seem to be putting up numbers near I would say, expectation.
They're definitely not. They're definitely not. And I suppose you go and you spend all the money on Victor Gyökeres and you think, right, this solves the problem. And actually, in theory, it's probably created a problem at times, because with the transfer fee that they paid and stuff like that, so many people say, well, you paid all that money, you got to play him. Even though Arsenal have looked better at times when he's not been in the team. So...
as soon as Kai Havertz came back, he was straight back in the team.
Yeah, so they did build a little bit of a rod for their own back here. And listen, there's a lot of teams do that. We did that this summer, obviously, with Sesko, and you guys did it with Isak/Ekitike. Because, for most people, only one of them can play at a time, really. Which means one of them is going to be on the bench, and then there's going to be a chat about which one of them's not happy because they're not playing games and so on. So, it's tough when you have that big price tag and you go into somewhere like an Arsenal. You really need to get the ball running as early as you can, and Gyökeres hasn't. He hasn't been anything near what we thought. I actually spoke about this I was talking to Andrew about something yesterday, and I said, you know what? Initially, because obviously he'd played under Amarin, and I thought, this is a no-brainer. Just go and get Gyökeres. He's played for Amarin. He knows what he wants. This all works. And when I spoke to Andrew last night, I said, you know what? We fucking dodged a bullet. We dodged a bullet.
I read some stat the other day, in 16 Premier League games this season, or 15 of the Premier League games that he's played in. He might have played in 25 or 26, I don't know. But in 15 of them, he didn't even have a shot on target. That's shocking for a main striker in a big club fighting for a title. To go 15 games without a shot on target. Forget about a
I
goal or a
didn't
fucking
see
assist.
it, but that
Apparently
is
so.
fucking
How
ludicrous. Kev.
flabbergasting is that if that's true now? I read it yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I was going, I would merely back myself up front for Arsenal to at least get a shot on target out of 15 games. And I can't move for shit. You know what I mean? Just put a ball in front of me and I'll volley it from 30 yards.
Well, do you know what I mean? Like it does only take you getting the ball out of your feet and just letting one go.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? That's crazy.
It's a shocking stat, isn't it? A shocking stat.
Yeah, that really is. That's nuts now, I have to say.
We'll go on to the next slide anyway, because it's our Premier League preview and we want to get into the matches and stuff. What's your general thinking at the moment on the title race now? What are you thinking? Could you see this mental problem exasperating itself more and more and more?
To be honest with you, I think the biggest game in the league this year is actually a cup game.
The Carabao that we spoke about a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I think, if Arsenal can go and win this game, there's a little bit of confidence, there's a little bit of self-belief. They can kick on.
They have a trophy, they have a medal. Yeah.
We can look around the change room and go, right, we can do this together. If Man City win that Carabao, that dressing room's going to be a lonely ass place, man. Mm. And no amount of holding hands and touching light bulbs is going to help them get up off the floor from that.
No dog, no plane you'll never walk alone or training grounds.
No, this is not going to go the way they want it. I think the biggest game in the league this year is the Carabao Cup final, which is scary to think. And whoever wins that game has just such a big upper hand.
Don't worry, Joanne. Don't forget,
we've also got to go to the Etihad for this game as well, which is also huge. Because, in theory, right, if we bring them both up to 28 games there, yeah, and let's say City win their game in hand against West Ham, and then you've got 58, 56. So they've played 27 games, and then City beat them, and then they've played 28 games each, and City are ahead by a point with 10 games to go. That's good night, Irene. Turn the lights off on your way out.
The biggest factor from last night's result actually is it's put it back somewhat in City's hands.
Absolutely.
Because City, if they 100%. Win the game in hand, and if they win at the Etihad,
then win all your games, City win the league title.
Yeah.
Which hasn't been the case for a long time.
Hasn't been the case for a long, long time. And what message, if they don't pick up silverware this year, what do you expect to happen at Arsenal? Is it we go again? Is there a change? Is it this guy can't get it done? Is he too expensive to get rid of?
I think it's dependent on, because obviously we're saying they don't win the league. But, excuse me, do they pick something else up? So, obviously for Arsenal, it's a huge season, and they really, really want a league title. But if they didn't win a league title and Mikel Arteta won a Champions League, I don't think you're sacking him off the back of that, are you? Because he's now brought the Holy Grail that they've never won.
And if you look at the graphic I've put in there, they're the only team in the top 6 that's never won a European Cup.
Do you know what I mean?
The Champions League would be huge for them. There's no doubt about it.
I think so.
Yeah. But it's with the Champions League as well is so tough to win as well. Let's kick off the games anyway. Saturday, Aston Villa Leeds.
Yeah, listen, I find it very difficult to back against Villa when they're at home. I think Leeds will be plucky as they have been. They'll hustle, they'll harry. But I can't see past Villa. So I go 2-1 Villa.
I think with the result last night as well, and their their rivals doing them a favour there as well against Arsenal last night as well. I think Villa won't be counting themselves out of this yet, even though like we'd be leaning definitely more towards Man City, no doubt about it. But I mean,
no, well, I mean, like win that game in hand, Villa were in 5 points of them, and don't forget, it's far easier to chase than it is to lead.
Imagine a situation where City win, Villa second, Arsenal third.
It's not unheard of, like
as we say.
It's absolutely not at all. You know,
Battle of the Bays, Brentford, Brighton.
Well, it's the Battle of the Bays, but I'm going with the Bays in this. The Buzzy Bays from Brentford. I fully expect Brentford to do this. Brighton are not the team on the road that they are at home. And I think they'll struggle today with the boy Igor Thiago up front. And I'll be going Brentford here. I'm gonna go Brentford 3-2.
Nice touch as well, the video of Keith Andrews going into the opposition change room the other night to have a word with them and stuff.
At Macclesfield, real nice touch.
More of that should happen. That's why we love the FA Cup and the spirit of the game.
You know what? No. I'm gonna highlight something, and I really shouldn't highlight it because it paints a particular person in a good light. I'm not a huge fan of this light, but I'll paint the picture anyway. I was listening to a particular podcast today. You know which podcast comes out on a Thursday that I like, and I was listening to it, and the guest on it was Ange Postecoglou. And if you get a chance, have a listen. It was a great podcast. Ange is a huge character. I'm a big Ange fan. I'm an even bigger Ange fan after it. But he talks about, and I don't know if you remember the year that United left the FA Cup to go and play in the World Club Cup. Do you remember in Brazil?
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
And in the third group game, we played the Australian A-Stars or whatever they were, or Melbourne or whatever we played.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said they sent on one guy with 20 minutes to go, and he said for the last 15 minutes, this guy did not move. He said he was literally bodyguarding David Beckham for the last 15 minutes of the game because he wanted the jersey. So he said he did not move whatsoever, right? He said everyone on the sideline was like, Johnny, run around. He just kept looking at them, and he said he kept standing as close as he could to Beckham. So when that final whistle went,
give me that jersey.
Give me the jersey. So he said what happened was at the end of the game, lads started swapping jerseys, this, that, and a brand new hat. And the drugs testers came in and they pulled out 3 of the Aussie lads for drug testing. And he said when he pulled the 3 Aussie lads out, the lads came back in and they missed the swapping of the jerseys. And the 3 boys were heartbroken. And they said the 3 lads went in to the Man United changing room, had a little knock on the door or whatever, and listen, can we swap a couple of jerseys and blah, blah. And apparently a couple of the United players said, no, we're not swapping jerseys, or you can't have the jersey or whatever. Oh. And one Roy Keane stepped in and went, what are you talking about? Give them the fucking jerseys. And told the boys to give them the jerseys. And your man says, did he get? He says, you bet they gave them. And he said, but Roy stood up and told them, give them the jerseys. He says, there's a way we do things around here. And we do things the right way. And he said those 3 guys came back into the dressing room and they explained what had happened. And he said, to a man, every one of them just went, wow, respect,
Yeah. Because you'd naturally by now, like Roy Keane, people would think he's the guy to tell you to fuck off. Like,
well,
you know what I mean? From the outside looking in. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, and to my mind, that's how I would have liked to have gone as well, because it could have furthered my narrative slightly.
Did you see the story last week about him rocking up to the hospital?
Which one?
It was very good. Roy Keane. There was a story came out last week. A guy wrote to Man United, I think, talking about his dad. His dad wasn't well in hospital. And he said he'd love like a letter or an email from Roy Keane or something like that. And the next time, Roy Keane just walked into the hospital and into the room. Yeah. So lovely touch. So, it's interesting.
Yeah, no, if I wanted to further my own narrative, I could have kept that story to myself, Noel, but I'm not that kind of guy, as you know. And I've no problem holding my hands up when I make mistakes or when I make wrong calls. You know, it's called accountability. Lots of people should try it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Getting back Brentford. You're going for
3-2 Brentford.
3-2. That'd be a banger of a game then. Chelsea Burnley.
Chelsea 4-1. I'm going for Chelsea to absolutely hand it to Burnley.
Palace. Are you disappointed in Burnley crashing out of the FA Cup? I thought they would have focused on that.
And well, to be honest with you, I don't think it was something they didn't try to concentrate on. I just think on the day it didn't work out the way they planned. But I think they were looking to try and get a result and push on, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Was
Palace
Swansea?
No, who were they playing? Mansfield, was it? Knocked them out?
Might have been Mansfield.
Mansfield were the joint killers, wasn't it? Mansfield.
It was. I have the draw here.
I'm thinking either Mansfield or Macclesfield. It was an M anyway. I think definitely an M.
It was Mansfield Town.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Mansfield. I knew it was Mansfield.
Yeah.
Big old Phil. Hope you're good. Phil saying he just watched Celtic getting stuffed by Stuttgart.
And they did 4-1 at home in Parkhead. They got stuffed.
Absolutely. Palace Wolves.
Just on that.
Yeah.
Ask Philip, did he watch the whole game there for me, will you?
You've just asked him.
Yeah, let us know. Did you watch the whole thing, Philip? Because I have a question for you on the basis of that. Yeah. Crystal Palace versus Wolves. Crystal Palace were obviously away tonight in European action, and they've also now to come against Wolves. He'll be plucky after their 2-2 draw with Arsenal. Don't be surprised if Wolves make this difficult for Palace, and Palace Wolves might get something out of this. I'm gonna go 1-1 here.
What's the Derby record again? What's the points record? You know, the worst relegated.
Is it 15?
Is it 15 or something like that? Yeah. So obviously they want to try and get above that, I would imagine anyway.
Of course. Yeah. And you know what? I gotta say, I don't think he's doing that bad of a job, Rob Edwards. I really don't. Since he's come in, you know, there's been an upturn in form. They might not have had the results, but don't forget they've also gone and sold a lot of players as well to ready themselves for the drop, and they've given him the opportunity to sign. He signed the boy Adam Armstrong from Southampton. They have absolutely signed him. Right, okay. They have absolutely signed this lad to go and play in the championship with them next year, which is clever. Yeah. You know, and I hope they let Edwards keep the job because I think he's done well with them. And I think given the time, he could do a real good job with Wolves as well. Yeah.
You think about Wolves are such a big club as well, and you think about Wolves this season as well. At times they've just been so unlucky not to pick up points or not to see out wins. And I know at times now they've got smashed up as well. There's no doubt about that.
They have.
But earlier in the season, if you look at some of the games, they were really unlucky at times. Not to pick up
Are we just going to talk about the boy Matthias Mane for a minute? Because there's absolutely no chance. There is no chance this kid ends up kicking off next season at Wolves. There's just no hope or possibility.
He looked really good in a Liverpool jersey, and we do like a Mane.
He look really good in lots of jerseys. It's
like a
phenomenal kid. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. He's all energy and all move, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. I like the kid a lot now, I have to say.
West Ham, Bournemouth?
I'm going to shock you here. I'm going to go West Ham.
That's not shocking me.
I'm going to go West Ham. I just think at home, they've just started to turn a corner and the performance has been good and they've kept stuff. Yeah, that's a good shout, Joanne. And they've kept stuff kept it tight at the back and stuff like that. And I think they'll make life tough for Bournemouth. And I think it's a much bigger game for West Ham than it is Bournemouth. And I think that'll be what gets them over the line. I'm going to go West Ham 2-1.
Do you expect West Ham to survive?
That's a good question.
Joanne's agreeing with you on that 2-1 West Ham.
Yeah, that's a real good question. Do I expect West Ham to survive? They're 3 points behind Forest. Now,
we're playing Forest away this weekend.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is that they've obviously got in their locker, Forest, is that new manager bounce, and we know the job Victor Pereira done at Wolves last season. Came in and just like, if we looked at from Christmas till the end of the season, he could have got manager of the year. He was that good. Like, he was unbelievable.
Big win
Now,
tonight as well.
huge win tonight. I don't necessarily think that helps them though, because having their eye on, tonight, and then having to go back and play games on Sunday and stuff like that doesn't make life easy.
But it's kind of, it's a much the feel-good factor of winning again, and, feeling a bit better about yourself rather than going back. Imagine they lost tonight.
Yeah, but here's my big issue with this, right? The goal difference. West Ham could, if Liverpool were to beat Forest, and West Ham were to beat Bournemouth, depending on it, there's 3 goals in it at the minute and 3 points. By the end of the weekend, West Ham could be above them, and then all of a sudden, those 3 points in Fenerbahce mean nothing. And
I just meant in terms of general feeling about it.
Yeah, like, listen, it's great to get the win, but don't forget there's a nice little spin back from Turkey as well. Like, Turkey to Nottingham's probably a good 3.5 hours, I'd say.
Yeah, and you might have players that picked up a knock or something or whatever.
Absolutely, and so you're getting home possibly late tonight, maybe middle of the night. Tomorrow's a recovery day, and then you're going through tactics and set pieces on Saturday. And then you have to travel down, and then you're traveling, and you're not traveling on Sunday. No. They're home. But there's a lot on. It's busy. It's busy. That gives West Ham a slight advantage for me. Yeah.
And the kind of feeling that I feel, if West Ham climb out of the bottom 3, I think they'll kick on.
I think so.
I think because they have looked really well the last few weeks now.
And how ironic would it be for Nuno to keep West Ham up at the expense of Nottingham Forest?
He'll have the boys fired up, won't he?
Like, how ironic would
he'll probably go, no matter what happens this season, we just finish above fucking Forest, no matter what else.
Absolutely. And that's like, that'd be a choker for our Greek friend. Yeah. Really would.
Well, what's he on now? Manager 4?
Ange Dice Pereira, isn't it?
And Nuno.
Nah, Nuno didn't kick off, did he?
Wasn't Nuno in charge for the first 4 or 5 games?
I thought he left earlier.
Oh, I think they binned him off after 5 games.
Did they? Yeah.
This is manager 4. I think they're on now.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think Nuno was in charge for about 5 or 6 games. I think.
I thought he got the chop at the end of last season after what happened, but by the power of
because I thought Ange came in around September, October, and he only got about 8 games, I think, or 6 games, and then he got binned for Deutsch. I think this is manager number 4 this season. Maybe I'm wrong.
September, so yeah. So
Pereira's got number 4. They're on.
That's crazy.
And we're in the 2nd week of February, 3rd week of February.
Recipe for disaster. February. You're in February and you're on your 4th manager. That's scandalous, man.
I'd never wish relegation on a team, but that kind of carry on is insane.
I'd never wish relegation on a team, but I wouldn't an owner.
100%. The big one, City, Newcastle. Newcastle on a 5,000-mile round trip. Big win in Quarterback, though, but
yeah, big win. Anthony Gordon, obviously, with a first half quad.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no chance Man City beat Newcastle 3-0, Joanne. Absolutely no chance. Not that they won't score 3 goals, but there is no hope of Man City keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit susceptible from set pieces, City. And Newcastle are good. You'll see the boy Dan Burns, Sven Botman, Malik Chow, and stuff like that. There's goals in this, though. There's absolutely goals in this.
Everyone will be glued to this, isn't it? Every kind of game now and that title race now, people are going to be glued to.
I'm going to go City in a thriller 3-2.
Could we get another Newcastle 4-3? Could we get another craziness? Imagine.
Who knows? Who knows?
Let's move into Sunday then. Forest Liverpool.
Yeah, I think the Carabao I think the conference game tonight helps you guys massively. I really, really do. And just because of that, and I think you should have a few faces back as well, shouldn't you? I think that'll be enough to get you over the line now. I don't think it'll be pretty, and it's also not an easy place to go. So we'll just go Liverpool to nick it 2-1.
Cool. Sunderland Fulham.
Sunderland all day long, and twice on a Sunday. 2-1 Sunderland. Big broad.
You sounded so confident there, and then you dropped me a 2-1. I thought you were going to go 4-1 or something with the way you entered.
Well, Fulham always got on the score sheet. Big Bobby Broby with a goal for Sunderland this weekend. I like the boy Bobby Broby.
Yeah. Spurs Arsenal. North London
very,
derby.
very, very hard to know here because we don't know what kind of a Spurs we're getting with the new manager coming in the door.
This is shades of what you said, remember, with City and Liverpool. Remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
It kind of panned out that way as well.
It did. You know, it's gonna be a difficult game to judge, but I think with the deflation of the other night,
this man has 3 big days coming up, doesn't he? This man on the screen.
Oh, absolutely.
3 big days coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna go draw, and I'm gonna go draw, and you know, Arsenal maybe getting something late to nick something, and keep them. You know, actually, keep it as a plus rather than a minus, where you're like, we got something out of that. That's great. You know, rather than we drop 2 points type thing, which is exactly how they viewed the Wolves game.
Surely with what's been going on at Spurs and Thomas Frank and everything that's happened there and the turmoil there, they would view that as dropping 2 points as well, no?
I don't think in a North London derby, plus if Spurs are 2-1 up and it's late in the game and Arsenal managed to nick something, they may view it as a galvanising thing rather than, you know what I mean?
I think anything other than a win there and it's white flag time on the title, I think they'll be in serious trouble.
Listen, I don't think they're miles away from that anyway, but I think Spurs at times at that Hotspur Stadium can be very, very good. And if those players come out with something to prove after Thomas Frank and Tudor can get a tune out of them, you know, I think Spurs could get something out of this.
Is Romero back for this game?
No, I don't think so. It was a straight red, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wasn't too sure. And then Monday Night Football, 8 o'clock, Everton versus Man U. I think this is Man U written all over, isn't it? They've struggled really at the new stadium.
Looking forward to it. Great to be back involved, obviously, after the FA Cup weekend. Was delighted to see a couple of our young players in Dubai on a little break that they had, training with the GPS systems on them. Did you see these pictures?
No, I didn't see that, no.
Lenny Yoro and Aidan Heaven. The two boys were training together with the GPS staff bibs on. And doing a little bit in Dubai. Now, they were doing it in the evening time, obviously, when the sunlight had gone and whatever. But I'm just looking at it going, you've had a few days away, but you've kept your head clear. You've put a little bit in your legs. You've done everything the right way. This is the kind of stuff that wasn't happening. Remember, we talked about Marcus Rashford going to a basketball game and sitting there pricking around with this stupid chain on his neck and stuff like that. And now you're seeing kids go away and, enjoy themselves, recover the body a little bit for the end of the season, but keep themselves in the right mindset that everything is towards what we're trying to do and stuff like that. So that was great to see. I think just because they're not great at home, I'll go for United, and I'll go United 2-1. Yeah.
Always a good game though, Everton Man U. Always a good game.
Yeah, there's always a bit in it, and we've a reasonable record away to Everton. Probably better than it is at home at times. So we'll go 2-1 United.
And especially in the new stadium, anyway. That's for sure.
Well, it'll be our first visit, but for a lot of teams, they've enjoyed their visits so far.
Absolutely. Right. Let's change it up a little bit and let's go back closer a bit home. let's talk about what's coming up this week. There's no point really in focusing on the table because the weather
there's been
has
so many
destroyed.
cancellations so far, and
Mm.
it's been very, very difficult. Obviously, draw to getting the couple of wins is great, and Bowes picking up 4 points and Derry and stuff. Bowes and Derry be delighted to be still unbeaten and stuff like that. But other than that, like it's full steam ahead for this weekend. I'm gonna go Derry at home.
Okay.
I know Bowes have been decent so far, but I'm gonna go Derry at home.
Derry's kind of your team, isn't it? It's your flavour this year, sort of.
I do think at home they're very, very strong. I think on the road, and we've mentioned it, I expect, you said the first 5 games they have to play at home because of the pitch thing. After the first 5 games, I'd be shocked if Derry aren't top. That's what I expect.
Yeah.
And then it's when teams get a chance to come back at them a little bit and level the playing field. And after 10 and they're back going both sides, I think you'll see where they are. But I expect Derry to be close enough.
They've been very busy in the transfer market as well.
Yeah, they absolutely have.
That takes a little bit of time as well. Shelburne, Galway?
Yeah, I think Shells, but again, that won't be an easy game. Galway have looked okay so far. And I don't think the pitch at all could be conducive to any kind of decent football either, which will probably suit Galway as opposed to Shells.
Waterford, Sligo? Real difficult one to call.
Difficult one to call, but you just have to go with the home team on form with Waterford and stuff like that. Obviously, they did a much better game against Shells than they did the second day out and whatever. But Sligo conceded 6 in 2 games, so you'd have to think Waterford will have a couple of chances here.
The days here: Dundalk versus Drogheda.
Yeah, big derby, big derby. And I think on a night like that, I think what'll happen is 2 teams will cancel each other out. And I expect a draw.
Okay. And then obviously the big one down the bottom as well, Rovers versus St. Pat's.
Big one down the bottom. Pats for me are going to be involved in this, but I just think because they're at home, I'm going to go Rovers.
Rovers' first game of the season as well. Could they be caught a little bit cold? I know Bradley's meticulous in his preparation.
Do you know what? I actually think it'll suit them.
Okay, because they'd be fresher.
Because they won't have played any games and he'd have had more time with them to get them to where he wants them to be. Yeah. And I think that'll suit them down to the ground. And I think Rovers.
I was thinking they might catch them a little bit cold because of, rhythm and match, when you get into matches and stuff.
Absolutely. And also, I think he'll have them ready.
Very good. And let's go then into the first division, which kicked off last weekend. Obviously, Bray.
We're going to be looking at Leinster Senior League at this stage. We start looking at this League One shite now. Come on.
Well, we have to listen. My team is in there, Bray Wanderers. So I have to listen. We have to support the league. Listen, we're going to be going into the 3rd tier from August or September or whatever it is. So be prepared.
When the milkman and the postman are playing centre back and right wing, go way
there's
out.
There's been plenty of good milkmen and postmen that picked up a ball and played down through the years. Don't ask me what happened there.
The old postman didn't deliver that time, did he?
The milkman just knocked on the door there. He wasn't impressed. Tommy, to get you off the stream.
He wanted to square up. Yeah. At this rate, we'll nearly be looking at them lads that play that foreign sport, that bog ball, that kick and catch stuff. Jesus.
Do you know what I would say? In our predictions last week for Division 1, I think we only got 1 right. It was a crazy week for results.
Yeah, it's also a crazy league to have to predict. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker.
Yeah.
We'll go.
I think the students was the only one we got right.
Yeah, we'll go UCD again, and we'll go Athlone. We'll go Bray.
Big shout out, actually, Athlone. Big shout out to a friend of ours, myself and Mark, Rob Gray, who was the goalkeeping coach down at Athlone. He's a good friend of Mark's and myself and all. We know him down through the years. Good lad.
Good Rob. Man. We'll go Cork away, which would be a big result for them, and we'll go Longford against Cove.
You went Bray against Treaty, did you?
I went Bray, yeah. Bray for you. Yeah, absolutely. Of course I did.
Sorry, what did you go, Wexford Cork?
I went Cork.
Cork. And you went for Cove over Longford.
No, I went for Longford.
Oh, you went for Longford over Cork. Over Cove. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Interesting. All right. There we go. There we go.
Have you ever been in Cove?
I have. Stayed in Cove. Stayed in Cove one time with Hillary.
I stayed in Fowler Island one time. And Cove's about 15 minutes around the road from Fowler Island. You drive past the gate of Fowler Island on your way to Cove.
Do you know what I should say to you? I was at a wedding in Cove, I think.
Right. And I went down and I went in. It was a Champions League night. It was a Tuesday. It was a bit of Champions League football on. And the reception on the phone wasn't great. So I said to Rosanna, we're going to have to drive down to Cove so I can nip into a bookies and have a couple of bets on tonight, you know? And she says, yeah, no bother. So we pulled up the car outside this Boyle Sports. And then I went to do a quick few bets. So I was sitting in there a couple of minutes. And the next minute, there was two young fellas sitting there and they were messing with bookies dockets, you know? And there was an older lad sitting in one of the chairs. And the lads made a little paper airplane. And they threw the airplane like this.
Okay.
And it hit your man on the back of the head. And when I tell you a brawl broke out in the bookies, right? And she's calling me. And I'm in the bookies. And this is all going
Bodies
down,
going
right?
everywhere.
And there's lads, you know the stools, the big silver
Yeah.
stools
Yeah.
with the blue circular cushions
That's
on
right,
them in boils.
Yeah.
And these are getting thrown across the thing and all, right? And there's lads ducking and she's calling me and on. I'm like, I'll be out in a minute and it's all kicking off in here. And this little outfit caused absolute ructions over a bleeding paper airplane. And there was murder.
How many did he take out?
Anybody that got a look in, he took them out one at a time. He was clipping lads with chairs. He was trying to get lads in headlocks. The whole thing was going on. It was absolute bedlam. And she's outside sitting in the car, has no idea any of this is going on. Gold.
Which can often be the case. And then when you go and tell them, they don't often believe you.
She's like, you're in there ages. I'm like, there's after been a full-scale row in there. Lads throwing stills and trying to smash glass and the whole, you know.
You're walking in thinking a quiet Boyle Sports and Cove going in to do a few bets on one of the machines.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? The next thing, the stills flying away and everything.
It's a few years ago. It's before machines.
Oh, before machines. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I was taking a coupon box, like.
That's a long time ago, isn't it?
You know.
It felt very real, though. Very good. Did. Great story. Right, folks, until next time, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button and drop a like on the video. I don't think I'm back till Monday as far as I know.
Is Monday the bank holiday or no?
Is Monday a bank holiday?
That's the week after.
It's the week after, is it?
It's the week after.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think so, yeah.
The week after.
So there we go. Happy days. So yeah, I should be back Monday with Marky, and sure we'll send up shorts and reactions and everything else will be going up. Yeah, I'll probably drop a little preview for the Forest game as well. Yeah, we'll do a little drive time preview for you at some stage before the game.
Absolutely.
But until next time, folks, have a safe weekend. Enjoy the football, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Cheers, bro.